Good evening, everyone. It's February 19th, 2013. The notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the flag and prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen.
Thank you. We have a presentation this evening for our former councilperson, Bob Frazier. In the house, Mr. Frazier? Yes, you are. It's a pleasure to see you. We have a token of our esteem for you, and if you come up, I'd like to give it to you.
Okay, guys.
We're going to go down on the floor. It's a big crowd tonight.
Bob, in appreciation of all your hard work throughout your career as the 9th Ward councilperson, the governing body got together and took up a little collection so that former Councilman Frazier could always remember the people he served with and the service to his city in appreciation of all his efforts. And what we have is a glass paperweight that we would like you to remember us by. It says the governing body of Linden, New Jersey presents Robert Frazier, a true gentleman and dedicated public servant, in recognition of his service as 9th Ward Councilman from 1/1/98 to 12/31/12, and Council Pro Temp from 1/1/11 to 12/31/12. And again, it's a little globe that goes on top.
Don't break it.
And I'm going to put it back before I do break it. So Bob, in appreciation of everything you've done for all
Citizens of Linden, this is the most important thing. You people come first. We're secondary. And I appreciate this, and I thank you so much for it. And I also thank my colleagues, and if you'll stay there, I'd like to shake each and every one of your hands. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for waiting for that. but Mr. Frazier was very special to us. Going to move into the minutes now.
We need to do a roll call, Mr. President.
Mr. Clerk, please conduct the roll.
Mr. Kalbas.
Here.
Koziel. Here. Brown.
Here.
Armstead. Here. Crosby Harling.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Sheehy.
Here.
Yemakaitis.
Here.
Medina.
Here.
Kaczynski. Here. Mr. Moore.
Here. In the event of emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chambers is through the 3 rear doors. Occupants should proceed down the stairs out the front and move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, please sign in on the white sheets provided in the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones and place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, please leave the council chambers to do so. Okay, we're going to move into, we just did the roll call, the minutes. I would like a motion for the minutes, approval of the minutes of the January 8th, 2013 organization meeting and the minutes of the regular January 22nd, 2013 meeting. Motion, please.
I seek an approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead. Yes. Crosby Harling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. We're going to move into ordinance on hearing. Ordinance on hearing, the date. This is the date and time established for public hearing for ordinance on hearing. Ordinance 57-1.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7, Traffic, as follows. 7-33, Handicap Parking Regulations. 7-33.1A, Handicap Parking on Street. Add 227 East Blanky Street, 614 Cleveland Avenue, 818 Cleveland Avenue, 1013 Chandler Avenue, 1 spot each. Delete 669 Meekum Avenue and 650 Morningside Avenue, one spot each.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on this ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Harling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 57-2.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 3 Police Regulations as follows. Add new Section 3-18.2A, regulating charitable clothing bins.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Yes, I move the hearing be closed, the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second. Mr. Kalbas.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Harling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. 57-3.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 4, General Licensing as follows. Amending garage sale ordinance, enforcement, and conduct of sales.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Would you please come up? State your name.
Dennis Kopecki, Ward 1. I guess my question really has to do with some enlightenment and expansion of what kind of enforcement goes on at these garage sales, and frankly, the conduct of sales I can understand. I think most of the people handle that themselves, but that may be part of the enforcement, and someone enlighten me, please.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bode.
Currently, there's an ordinance in place that limits it to 2 garage sales per year and sets some restrictions over signs and things like that. Some of that language was not clear in there,
Okay.
So we increased that, plus the enforcement was up to the police department, and we also increased it to include the code enforcement officers
I
to be
see.
able to
Thank
write
you.
summonses.
Appreciate it, Joe.
Any further questions on the ordinance? If not, a motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, 57-4.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning shall be amended as follows. Add new Section 31-20.6, clothing donation bins.
Has the ordinance been properly published and posted?
Yes, sir.
Have we received any written communication?
No, sir.
Is there anyone who wishes to be heard on the ordinance? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
Yes, Mr. President, I move the hearing be closed and the ordinance adopted and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We'll move on to the consent list. All items listed with asterisks are considered to be routine by the city council and be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests. In the event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. We have items 1 through 9. Does anyone wish to have anything removed? On my right. In the center. On my left. Motion, please.
Mr. President, I move consent agenda items 1 through 9, and I ask for a second. Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. I'd like to move into committee reports. Mr. Colobus?
Thank you, Council President. I have a brief report. First, I want to urge my council colleagues to support Resolutions 2013-113 with a resolution introducing the temporary budget, in particular, the resurfacing of Lawson Park and the Lawson Park equipment. This park is due up for reconstruction. Over the past couple of years, other parks around the city have been resurfaced, so I appreciate this going into the budget, and also the unforeseen equipment damage that is needed to be replaced there, so the children can go and enjoy themselves after school. I want to thank the DPW department for their work during the recent storm. The streets look great immediately right after the storm and passable, so I appreciate all your help. Any First Ward resident with any questions or concerns could reach me at 925-5568. This concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kozar?
Thank you, Mr. President. Citywide Committee reports, Public Property Committee. The report of the committee, we met last week with Department Director, Mr. McDonald. We talked about departmental overtime, specifically the reoccurrence of repetitive overtime. And by repetitive overtime, I mean scheduled work that happens every week on a regular basis. This is some work that we could possibly put together and cover with normal hours. The committee asked Mr. McDonald to explore departmental personnel restructuring and part-time personnel alternatives and work week adjustments to reduce unnecessary overtime whenever possible. We talked about the LEMS building and its future uses and deployment. In the future, it looks like we will have a multi-use facility, including some usage from Union County, Linden OEM, and 1 or 2 other entities. The TPW building, we talked about the potential or the future insurance settlement for the repair and reconstruction. And we talked about evaluation-related costs of upgrading our municipal buildings with new emergency generator power systems. Technology Committee, we're ongoing with the Technology Committee. In fact, Resolution number 23 tonight allows for a service agreement with Pascac Data for computing consulting services relative to the citywide hardware and software technology upgrade. The committee is continuing to discuss the upcoming purchase and implementation of all computer technology. We're also talking about the development of a physical inventory of all departmental communications and duplicating equipment, as well as a review of all phone data lines currently in use. If you happen to take a look, as Mr. Brown shared with me, some of the numbers just for toner and upkeep of some of these machines and maintenance agreements, it's astronomical. We have begun also to develop a site plan and scope of project for a new updated municipal website and a needs assessment for IT support, either internal or external, which will be responsible for maintenance of the website, social media content, and dissemination of TV 36 programming. Some second ward items, the four-way stop at DeWitt and West Henry seems to be working. Thank you, everybody, for your cooperation. As the weather allows, we will be applying very, very visible street markings. Can't do that now, of course, because of the weather. But everybody seems to be slowing that traffic down at that intersection, and that means a lot from Curtis Street all the way down to West Blanky. The United Lacquer property continues to be such a sore to our area of the Second Ward by West Elizabeth Avenue. On February 6th, I forwarded a letter to the Construction Code Department to ask for their assistance in the performance of a site investigation and subsequently to proceed with condemnation proceedings based on criteria supplied by both myself and the Engineering Department. We're also awaiting information from our environmental consultant relative to available grants for further remediation and the development of green and sustainable property initiatives. I have been in dialogue with Rowway Second Ward Councilman, in whose ward is the culvert and creek responsible for much of the flooding affecting the Bradford, Lexington, and Marion area in Linden's Second Ward. He did agree to further dialogue regarding Rowway's efforts and Linden's efforts, too, to examine the culvert downstream watershed for blockage and overgrowth. Oh, two other items, actually. There's an auto performance facility on West Elizabeth Avenue directly across the street from this property, the United Lacquer property. They consistently park anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 cars on the street, cars that are being worked on, cars without current license tags, and I've asked our police department to actively and aggressively enforce that. And also, at a community meeting just this past week, we talked about illegally parked commercial vehicles. If a truck has, I should say any vehicle, as I understand it, with commercial plates, cannot be on a street overnight. If you see that, if that is occurring, please call me or the police department, and we will have that enforced. Tree trimming and removals, I'm still taking cut lists for anybody who needs assistance, and that's it. One last note. This year I entered my 9th year on Linden City Council, and I will complete 3 elected terms representing the residents of the Second Ward. These 9 years were preceded by 3 terms on Linden's Board of Education. And after 18 years of elected public service, and after much consideration, I will be taking some time off, and I've made a determination not to seek re-election to council this year. I will continue throughout the remainder of my elected term to work diligently and tirelessly to move forward positive initiatives for both the Second Ward and for all of Linden. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Brown?
Thank you, Council President. Approval is requested for the following finance actions. The payment of bills totaling $1,214,301.83. The bills have been signed by the Mayor, Council President, and Finance Chairman, and a detailed check, register, and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. Item number 2, we are in the receipts of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of January at a rate of 0.25%. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Thank you, Council President. Now, I want to make a few comments. This year, I was asked to be put on the Finance Committee, and the Council President, a couple days later, made me Chairman of the Finance Committee and Budget Review. And I just want to let the public know where we stand as far as the budget. Today was a day that we received news as far as what our projected revenues are. Unfortunately, it's lower than what we expected. I want to say it's roughly around a downfall of roughly around $3 million prior to last year. In addition, we have anticipated appropriations just for my salary, increase in salaries of about $2.6 million. This budget year is going to be a very difficult year for us and for the taxpayers. My goal is to reduce as much as we can Unfortunately, we're going to have to make some sacrifices, and we're going to have to make some hard decisions. As such, today there is a personnel report that's on file, and just as I did last year, before the budget was introduced and adopted, I voted no for any hiring and any raises, promotions. I feel that we need to know where we stand as a city from our financial condition before we can go and spend money. So I ask that the town bear with us as we go through this budget process, and I also ask my fellow members that this is not an easy process. It's not easy for me to vote no for hiring. It's not easy for me to vote no for raises. But at the same time, I have an obligation to the taxpayers to make sure that we stabilize our taxes here in Linden. I think that's very important, and that when we spend money, we look to find ways where we're going to bring this money in, where we're going to bring in this revenue. Because it's very easy to spend money, but it's a lot harder to cut where we need to cut and make hard decisions, such as the ones that we'll be making tonight. End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Armstead?
Yes, Mr. President, I have the following reports. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts issued in the city clerk's office during the month of January 2013 and fees received have been turned over to the treasurer's office of the city of Linden. We have 124 birth, death, and marriage transcripts, city revenue of $1,845. We have 16 marriage and civil union licenses, total revenue of $48. 0 domestic partnerships, 12 miscellaneous revenues for $59.37, 0 bingo raffles, 410 EDRS vital statistics for $5,265, 3 borough permits for $15. The marriage and civil union licenses, there was $400 that went to the state, with a total of 565 total transactions for $7,632.37. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts were issued during the year of 2012 and fees received in payment. Marriage licenses, there were $822. State fees and revenue, there was $6,850. There were $3 in fees for domestic partnerships, with $25 going to state revenues as well. Civil unions, there were $12 in city revenues and $100 in state fees. Birth, death, and marriage transcripts, including EDRS, there were $66,315, with $130 going to state revenues. Borough permits, bingo and raffle licenses, there were $2,280, and miscellaneous, there was $1,337.34. In the city clerk's licensing division, monthly report for January 2013, the office issued 72 miscellaneous licenses and collected $6,403. I just basically want to talk a little bit about the personnel and finance report. I'm basically going to congratulate the gentleman prior to the vote. We have a number of firemen, new firemen, who are going to be coming on this month. And my congratulations to you and your families. I'd like to just hone in on one particular individual who I've known since he was a little boy. His name is Anthony Holland, and he's quite a gentleman and quite an outstanding individual. And that doesn't slight any of the other gentlemen. I've just known him a little bit longer. I know his family's been in these parts, oh boy, since the 1930s. He comes out of the Brazil family in Roselle, and his father's been cutting hair in Linden for quite a while. His father's not a Brazil, but his father's been around for a long time also. His family's been in these parts for quite a while, and it's not often that we get a chance to hire people who have the type of connection that this man's family has to this town. They came to Linden. They actually didn't come to Linden. They actually came to Roselle, Spruce Street, I believe. They lived across it was the Brazils, it was the Mosleys, and all these families I've known for years. And it just gladdens my heart when I see a young man like Anthony, who I've known since he was, a very little boy, since he was 5, 6 years old. We can call him Little Anthony. He's very energetic. When I was out there building my house, this man came over and wanted to see what was going on. And not only is this gentleman certified as an EMT, this man is a heck of a carpenter. I mean, this guy can do a lot of things, and it just gladdens my heart when I see a gentleman like him from our community who's doing something with his life. And I know one day he's going to build houses too. So congratulations to you all. Congratulations, Anthony. That concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby Hurley.
Thank you. I'm going to give a slightly brief as I possibly can. Just bear with me. From the Recycling Committee, our committee will be meeting next month, and we did get information last night that the cans, recycling receptacles that are required by the county have been ordered, and they're reasonable. So we're going to, hope that everybody will recycle when you're in the parks this spring and this summer. The Negotiations Committee is going to be meeting next month. I actually sent out a memo to all of the department managers asking for their input into any areas that they thought would be feasible to bring to the negotiating table. So I'm waiting for their feedback, and our committee will go over that. One department manager who I wanted to say thank you to that did respond immediately was the mayor. Thank you, Mayor, for your immediate response and your suggestions. We had traffic calming devices. I know you guys have all seen the little stand-ups that are in the middle of the road. The ones that were in the 5th Ward were damaged after the storm, so they have to be replaced, so you won't see them. It's yield to pedestrians. So they've disappeared, they were damaged, and hopefully we can get them back as soon as possible, just to remind everybody to yield to the pedestrians that are in the roadway and the crosswalks. In the 5th Ward, there's going to be a new Metro PCS store. They're preparing to open, so you don't have to come all the way to Wood Avenue. You can patronize the 5th Ward establishment. That's going to be East St. George's Avenue at Garfield. That's right at Park Drugs. They're going to have a Metro PCS store. And in our 5th Ward community meeting last month, we had a workshop from the Linden Police Department. It went very well. I want to thank the police department again for coming out and giving us the education on how to behave if there's an active shooter. It's a very good program, and I know that it's going to be put on very soon in the 8th Ward as well as for the city employees. I also want to give kudos to the Housing Authority, its commissioners, and all the volunteers who had a hand in casino night. We went and we had a wonderful time. We raised money for an awesome organization. It's next year, they already have plans to make it in a bigger venue. So if you have never been, come. It's a great time, and it's for a good cause. We have our 2nd annual celebration of Black History. That's going to be put on Thursday at the LMPC Center, which is on John Street. It starts at 6:30. It's going to be a short program. We have children who have done artwork. The artwork is beautiful. It's all about celebrating African American culture and history. We also will have children giving information, little biographical information about notable African Americans, past and present. So if you are available, stop by. You may learn something or remember something that, you were taught as a child about African American history.
Presentations.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. We also, this year, we are going to recognize 2 notable African Americans on our Linden Police Department. The first one is Anisha Jones, who is the first female African American officer who joined our force recently. We're going to do our presentation there. And then we have the highest ranking African American officer, which is Lieutenant Jonathan Parham. So we have resolutions, and I'm sure they'll pass tonight. We're going to give the presentation to them at the program also. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. Just a few remarks. First of all, we had a meeting a week and a half ago with the residents of Smith and Hampton Streets concerning the Wawa. The big problem there was the closing of Hampton Street. At the meeting, Duke people, the Wawa people, came to agreement that they would not close the street. They would just put some bumps and signage. The contingent from Smith Street and so on seemed to be satisfied with that, and the meeting turned out very well. Both parties seemed to leave with sort of success, so that will be coming. Anything else, I'll let you know. Also, we had a meeting with the planning board concerning Southwood Avenue. We had a few residents up there giving their opinions, whether it was for or against. I think it went well that people could come out and give their opinion. We had the people building it and someone explaining exactly what was happening. The biggest thing, of course, was the parking, and that's still under discussion. There will be other meetings coming up. They will be announced, and anyone from the city is welcome to come, listen, and give their opinion, because this is a city project, not just a six-ward project. But that will be coming in the future. ShopRite is still suing the city, so Duke Properties are at a standstill. We just can't do anything there. Anyone interested in tax assistance is available at the Linden residence by calling the John T. Gregorio Center. An appointment must be made, so if you're interested in having help with your tax, please give them a call. And lastly, since I'm the liaison with the senior citizens, please come, if you can, and join the Senior Citizen Club in Linden. There are a few of them. Of course, probably the biggest one is the Men's Club. Now, the Men's Club, of course, is mostly women. So if you want to even it out, gentlemen, please come. But you can meet your neighbors, you can bring your neighbors. It's just a nice get-together, and they discuss whatever's imminent here in the city. If you can, they meet every Tuesday, 1 o'clock at the Gregorio Center. That's that. There's also another senior program in Tremley Point. They meet on Mondays. But if you want to have maybe a few laughs, please come. Bring someone, come with someone, and gentlemen, we need more men, because like I said, it's at least 2 to 1, if not 3 to 1. At the present time, this is all I have to say. This concludes my talk, and thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Shi?
Thank you, sir. I have a few announcements I'd like to make. First, on Wood Avenue and 12th Street, the light's been blinking for well over a month. And the problem we have there is the same problem we have with the light on Main and Wood Avenue. It's old equipment. We trying to get the parts to fix the light. We can't get the parts to fix the light, so we have to replace the whole light. And the company that we deal with gave us a high bid, so we're working on going out to other companies to get the best price to fix that light. So I know it's a big inconvenience, because we need that light just to slow the truck traffic down going through there. So it's still going to take a while. I guarantee at least another month before that light gets back to normal, but it will be fixed, I promise you. And for the people of the 7th Ward, please come out. The people of anyone in the city of Linden, please, that was involved with the storm, please come to the FEMA meeting on February 28th. February 28th, right here in this room at 6:30, because this is where your questions will be answered. I mean, I was asked so many questions, I was really afraid to give out the wrong information. So please, if you have any questions about the storm-related issues, with the flood zone map, please come to the FEMA meeting on February 28th in this room right here at 6:30. And I would like to say the Yellow Ribbon Campaign is starting to support our troops. Please, if anybody wants to put a yellow ribbon out, please call me at 414-4111, and we'll get you a yellow ribbon to support our troops and our veterans. Skip and Dennis Walker from Adelia's have been donating these ribbons since the day it started. If you would like, you can go to Adelia's and they will give you a ribbon. But please support the campaign. You know, we got to support our vets and our troops. And I have another announcement. For Black History Month, America's first African American paratrooper unit. It's the 555th Airborne. They're going to be at the Multipurpose Center Tuesday, February 26th, at 7 o'clock till 9. Please come out and support these vets. It's going to be a very interesting event, and there will be refreshments served. And that's it out of my pile, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shi. Mrs. Yamakaitis?
Thank you, Mr. President. For the Personnel and Finance Committee report, there's copies available on the front desk. Does anybody have any questions before we move? Okay. Seeing none. Approval is requested for the following personnel actions. In the Fire Department, the approval to hire 8 probationary firefighters at the starting annual salary of $48,081 effective March 11, 2013, pending successful completion of all background and physical examinations. The hiring of Matthew Berube, Michael Bertoli, Jonathan Schultes, Timothy Benott, Anthony Holland, Kevin Schulhafer, Joseph Smigelski, and Joseph Dooley, pending the successful completion of all medical evaluations. Number 2, in the Department of Finance, Division of Personnel, the intermittent leaves of absences for Jessica Sheehy under FMLA, NJFLA, from January 2nd, 2013 to April 2nd, 2013. In the Department of Public Property and Community Services, Division of Public Works, the hiring of the following laborer, Tier 2, at $11.50 per hour, effective February 20th, 2013. Michael Cossip. In the Police Department, the hiring of Dennis Benziuk and Michael Berjacki as Public Safety Telecommunicator trainees at the starting annual salary of $34,547, effective February 26, 2013, to fill the existing vacancies due to retirements. In the Police Department, the hiring of 3 per diem Public Safety Telecommunicator trainees, Brian Scott, William McNair, and Louis Safner, at the starting hourly rate of $10, effective February 26, 2013. In the Police Department, the promotion of Captain James Schulhafer to Police Chief at the annual salary of $161,476, the promotion of Lieutenant James Sarnicki to Police Captain at the annual salary of $140,666, the promotion of Sergeant Donald Geisenheimer to Police Lieutenant at the annual salary of $111,709. All promotions are contingent upon the retirement of Police Chief Sal Bavona. In the Police Department, the hiring of 2 unpaid interns to work in the Linden Police Department Record Bureau from February 1st, 2013 to May 6, 2013. Sabrina Klamala and Janissa Cardona. In the Mayor's Office, the approval of the intermittent FMLA, NJ, FLA leaves of absence for Janice Brown from January 14, 2013 to April 5th, 2013. And the Department of Public Property and Community Services, the approval of the leave of absence under FMLA, NJFLA for Nicholas Melsnick from January 2nd, 2013 to March 27th, 2013. And the Department of Public Property and Community Services, the approval of the leave of absence under FMLA for Andrew Zach from January 2nd, 2013 to March 2nd, 2013. And the Department of Public Property and Community Services, their certification and change in title for Craig Beecher and William Colwell to Supervisor of Trees at their present salaries effective January 9th, 2013. I move for approval and ask for a second.
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 Mr. Kalbus.
Yes.
Koziel.
I vote yes on 1 through 5, and 7 through 11. I vote no on number 6.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Vote yes on 1 through 5, 7 through 11, and vote no on number 6.
Okay. Brown.
Yes for all except for number 1, 4, 5, and 6.
Armstead.
Yes on all.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes to all except number 3. I abstain.
Sadowski,
Yes on all.
Sheehy,
Yes.
Yemakaitis,
Yes.
Medina,
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Approved.
Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to ask all our probationary firefighters to please stand that are here this evening. We wish you well and best of success in the academy. And like Mr. Armstead, a lot of us up here have a lot of Linden ties to a lot of the families of these firefighters. The Smigelski's family and the Yamakaitis family go back many years. And I just have to make mention, Mr. Schulte, your mom gave me my first haircut, so. Congratulations.
Congratulations, man.
Okay. Okay, as Mr. Sheehy mentioned, the Yellow Ribbon campaign to support our troops is continuing. Now more than ever, with so many of our soldiers being killed, it's important to show our support here at home, not just at Memorial Day and Veterans Day, but all year. If anyone is interested in displaying a ribbon, you could go to Adalia's. Skip has been giving out since the inception of this campaign, donating his time and efforts, as well as his assistant dentist. So please feel free to go there. We need to revitalize this whole campaign in Linden. And if anybody would like to volunteer to help put out on some of the main roadways, please give me a call. My number is 925-2309. And I would like to mention that due to the snowstorm of 2 weeks ago, I postponed the 8th Ward Community Meeting until this Monday, February 25th at 7 p.m. at the Jersey Lanes Bowling Alley. At that time, we'll be having a demonstration by the Linden Police Department on how to respond to an active shooter. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Medina.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you to all that are watching from home. Just real briefly, I want to quickly update everyone on the traffic status on DeWitt Terrace. Responded to a concern on last month's meeting, and I just want to quickly update. The police department did do a partial study on DeWitt Terrace, and the findings are a little bit worrisome. Just for your information, over 3,500 vehicles travel DeWitt Terrace between St. George and Raritan Road. That's during the day. 85% of those vehicles are breaking the law. They're going over 10 miles per hour. So we have to be careful and, and take our time on the road and definitely follow the local speed law. The police have increased the presence on DeWitt Terrace to ensure the safety of our children that are arriving and leaving school. We are working on the next phase to help resolve this problem. And again, I encourage people to just follow the local speed limits anywhere in the state of New Jersey. I also want to let everyone know, just inform everyone, that there is a Zumba fundraiser at School 9 in Deerfield. The fundraiser is scheduled for this Friday, February 22nd, starting at 7 p.m. I encourage everyone to attend. This event is to benefit our children. You can reach out to the mayor's office for further information, or LindenTV, channel 36 for Comcast, 42 for Fios. Lastly, anyone in Ninth Ward have any concerns or questions, I can be reached at 908-986-6100. Also, please visit the Linden's Ninth Ward Facebook or click on my link on the city website. Furthermore, my newsletter will be sent out quarterly starting April. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Kaczynski, prior to your report, I'm going to ask Mrs. Yamakaitis to conclude.
Yes, Mr. President. I would also like to acknowledge congratulations to our new police chief, Chief Schulhafer. Would you please stand? We wish you well in your endeavors as well. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yamakaitis. Councilman Kaczynski.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. From the Fire Committee, the Fire Prevention Bureau collected $4,144 for the month of January. And I'd also like to congratulate the 8 new probationary members of the Linden Fire Department. Whenever there's a new hire, regardless of department, it's a very serious matter for the Linden taxpayer and for myself and what I take seriously. And I know you do as well, because this isn't a job, it's a career. And you're dedicating your life to the city of Linden, in essence. And I would like to make it known that you are replacing firefighters that are going to be leaving, and you're filling in some pretty big shoes. The city of Linden knows service now, and we expect service now. I know you guys are going to do a great job, and as chairman of the fire committee, I'm extremely proud to welcome you, and I'm extremely proud that you're joining a department under Chief Rizzo that is something that's a jewel of Linden. It really is. And I wish you all the best. The fire committee supports you, the city of Linden supports you, and I know the residents are going to support you, because in reality, your tax dollars at work. You are what we pay for. So I wish you the best, and congratulations. From the construction code and lighting department, the office issued 197 permits, processed 172 certificates, and collected $53,099 for January. I would also like to announce that the Kiwanis Club is sponsoring a Taste of Linden fundraiser to benefit the Linden residents who were affected by Hurricane Sandy. This will include many local restaurants and eateries, and it will be on Wednesday, March 20th, from 6 to 8 p.m. in the John T. Gregorio Center. Tickets are $10 a person. You can purchase them at the door. The proceeds will go to the Lynx Hurricane Sandy Fund, and of course, you can always make a donation to that anytime you want. Just in your memo section, just write Hurricane Sandy Relief and make it out to Lynx. You can buy tickets in advance, as I said, or at the door. And if you want to have any more information or sponsorship opportunities, which are available, please contact June Lazaro at 908-930-8310, or email her at junlazaro@verizon.net. That's JUNLAZARO. If you didn't get any of that, feel free to contact me at 908-463-9234, or by email at akaczynski@linden-nj.org. And from the Board of Health, I also like to notify residents that there will be a hypertension program on Friday, March 8th, from 2 to 4. It's free. Come on out for everybody of all ages. It will be, I believe it will be right here, Council Hall Chambers. So come on out and get screened for hypertension, because we can all get tested for that sometime, I guess. So, Mr. Council President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. We'll move into the mayor's report. Mayor Gugabonka.
Thank you, Council President. I'd also like to take this opportunity to congratulate the 8 new firefighters and welcome you to the City of Linden family. I'm sure you're going to do well, but as was said, this is not a job. This is a profession that has been done many times before by other firefighters who have given you a ability to continue the tradition of firefighting in the city of Linden. And with that said, I'd also like to point out that we have newly promoted Captain James Scholhafer and Lieutenant Guy Scheimer from the Linden Police Department. Please stand up. I'm sorry, Zarnicki, excuse me. I got a little confused there with Chief Scholhafer. I'm sorry about that, Cap. Also, I'd like to know if we have any of the 9/11 dispatchers here. I don't recognize them, but if they are here, would they please stand up and be recognized? Okay. There we go. Congratulations. I'd just like to mention, as it was mentioned by the 10th Ward Councilman, that the Hurricane Sandy Relief Committee is going to be meeting shortly. We're going to be meeting with individuals that we sent letters to determine their needs and try to help them through some trying situations. And we'll start doing that on a case-by-case basis, probably in another week or two. Also, I'd like to mention to everybody that our Office of Emergency Management is looking for individuals to volunteer their time. You will be trained by the Linden Police Department. What we need is individuals that are willing to commit to come out and assist, whether it be with traffic on serious motor vehicle accidents, at a fire scene, during natural disasters like Hurricane Sandy, again, to assist the city of Linden and assist our residents in their time of need. If you would like to donate your time, please call my office at 908-474-8493. Just for everybody's edification, St. George's Avenue, which is Route 27 from Elizabeth to Woodbridge, is going to have repaving done. That's going to be a year-and-a-half operation. They're going to start prepping now with raising the manhole covers, cutting in handicap curbs. They will also be putting cameras on all the traffic light intersections. They are not red light cameras. They are timing signals rather than having the loops in the roadway, and they will change the light when cars come on. So I don't want everybody to think that we're putting red light cameras on every intersection on St. George's Avenue in the city of Linden. And then after that, they're going to start paving at night by milling the road starting from Elizabeth on through into Woodbridge. So that's going to be a year-and-a-half project. I'd also like to mention that Phillips 66 also donates a considerable sum for the yellow ribbons that are going to be displayed in honor of our troops who are fighting overseas and also stationed in America. Besides Dahlia's contributing, Phillips 66 always every year gives a large donation for the ribbons to shown in support of our troops. And lastly, I would just like to mention that on the 28th, as Councilman Sheehy said, 6:30 in this room, FEMA representative is going to be here to discuss the flood insurance subsidies that they are trying to remove from the federal government. People all have gotten letters that are in the new flood zones. The people that are in the new flood zones have all received letters from the city of Linden. And FEMA will be discussing the cost factor with the new flood maps and how much it's going to cost for you to have flood insurance if your home is in that flood zone. Again, if your home isn't in the flood zone, you don't have to attend, but you're welcome if you're just curious. So that's my report, and again, I want to congratulate all the new employees and Captain Zarnicki, Lieutenant Geisheimer, and Chief Schulhafer, and good luck in your new careers and in your new promotions. End of report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to move into resolutions 2013-101 through 2013-127. Public comments will be permitted for those specific resolutions to be removed from the consent approval. Please read the synopsis of the resolutions, which have been prepared by the clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anyone wish to remove resolutions 101 to 127 on my right? Pat Hero? 107? 120? 124? 127? In the center? Mr. Sharpie? 107? 112? 113? I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. 113. 122. 127. On my left, Ms. Kopecki. 106. 107. 113. Seeing none, I ask for a motion on the remainder.
Council President, I make a motion for the approval of resolutions 101 to 127, with the exception of 106, 107, 113, 112, 120, 124, 127, and I believe 122. Did I skip any? All right. Make a motion, seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Kopecki, 106.
I'll learn. I'm a city employee now, too. Dennis Kopecki over on Erudo Street, and the question I have really to this 106 relates to, where is the auction going to be announced? I presume up on the website, but then again, I'd like to know where to look for this thing.
Mr. Brown?
Where is the auction going to be?
So let me, Alexis, do you know the date?
I can find out. I don't know the information.
Okay. But if I wanted to find out information,
The purchasing, you can call our purchasing department, but if
Purchasing
you want after the
department.
meeting, I can get your information and call you.
put it on the website, please.
On the website? No problem. Joe?
Might be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I make a motion for the approval of 2013-106, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 107, I'll ask Pat Hero to come up, please.
I know we've been over this over and over and over again, but I really wish that, I know it's a savings to the city, at least that's what's been said, but I really wish that we would maybe, if somebody is covered under a spouse or a significant other's health insurance, I really wish that we would not offer this. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
You got two more.
I apologize. Mr. Sharpie?
Yes, on this too, this is taxpayer money paying for these health benefits. I know they're contracted into the end of 2000, these employees, we're paying, us taxpayers are paying for the medical benefits to the end of 2013. I know that. No, I'm in total agreement against it. Taxpayers are paying for their medical benefits to December 31st, 2013. And the citizens should know that. Our taxpayer money are paying for these employees to the end of 2013.
Mrs. Zach, can you respond to that?
The governing body has had this in place for several years. The city does save a significant amount of money under the state statute. It had been changed under Chapter 68. Years ago, there had been, if both spouses had benefits, you were able to be able to have an incentive. That was stopped under the recent administration. And now this is for employees that are no longer, they're not city employees, but they have coverage elsewhere that are saving the city money by not having the city cover them for health insurance. So for a family package of, say, $22,000 in benefits, we're foregoing that and giving them an incentive of the $4,000 or whatever the plan they have, whether it be single or parent-child coverage.
Thank you. Mr. Kopecki? Motion, please.
I make a motion for 2013-107, and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 112 would be Mr. Sharpie.
Yes, is this the lowest bid we got on the 37,000? Is that the lowest bid? Did it go to the lowest bidder? 37,000, ready bids come in under
But
37,000?
Mr. Sharpie, under state law, it has to go to the lowest responsible bidder.
But it is the lowest possible bidder.
The lowest responsible bidder.
Okay, but it's the lowest, correct? The lowest, not the possible. I
No,
wanna hear
the
possible.
state's law requires us to award the contract to the lowest responsible bidder.
It is the lowest, right, correct?
Sit down.
All right.
Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-112 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kuzio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 113, Mr. Sharpie.
This is our word, right, Chris?
Yes. Part of it.
In his various streets, would that include Washington Avenue? The various streets in front of Lawson Park?
Councilman Brown?
I put in for Washington Avenue for the past 3 years. No work has been done on Washington Avenue.
It includes Washington Avenue down from,
St. George to,
no, not from St. George, but from East Curtis, I believe, to East Elm George? Yes, that's the first phase on it. I mean,
how
Very
about
Street,
from St. George to,
no,
Blanky?
the various streets in Lawson Park is for the blacktop, that's on the basketball courts there.
Right.
With the cracks and everything else like that, I put it in there thinking to prevent any people from tripping and lawsuits, things like that. So that's why Lawson Park is in there with various streets.
okay, now the other one, Lawson Park Equipment, you know, Sandy knocked down a tree under to that. Is that, in that equipment that we lost, is that covered under insurance?
What
It should
happens-
have been.
all right,
It was-
so,
it
Mr.
damaged
Shopping?
within 1 year.
Bishop, so you see, just to answer everyone's question, the Larson Park equipment, and then you see some of the Public Works equipment in there. These are put now in the temporary budget because we're paying for these now with the hopes of getting the money back from FEMA. So this isn't new equipment that we're buying from Public Works or for the park. This is what's being used, thank you, to purchase these items with the money that we're going to get back from FEMA. So the equipment is damaged equipment that we're replacing.
But the equipment that was damaged, they should have had insurance on it, right?
No.
When we purchase equipment like that, there's no insurance on it, or no warranty on the equipment? When we buy the equipment, the city buys equipment for various parks, there's no...
We're self-insured. We're
Okay, but
self-insured, yes.
So that would be covered, the loss of that, we
But
covered
Mr.
under
Sharper,
the
we're getting the
insurance.
money back from FEMA. It was
Okay.
damaged because of hurricane-related issues. We're getting
But
the
are
money
we
back
going to
from
get it
FEMA.
back?
Yes.
Okay.
Skopecki.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, earlier in the evening, your report talked about a shortfall in the budget, and we're now talking about possibilities of getting money back from FEMA. What happens if we don't get the money? Do we delete some of the streets that are in this list?
So
Or are
what
we going to
happen-
go ahead with them and say, okay, we'll just pass it on to the taxpayers?
So the equipment that we have in the Public Works, what we did
The
is...
park is fine. It's the streets
No,
being paid.
take the park out, because you see some of the bigger items as far as like the sewage inspection unit, the Bobcat, all-purpose machine.
Go up a line, resurfacing various streets.
Yes, the resurface of various streets are streets that every year in the capital budget, streets get put in there where we're resurfacing, repaving. This is out of the capital budget. The costs that we, with our capital budget, we go through this every year, is that we try to keep our capital debt service leveled off to pay for these projects on here. So this is the only project we want to say in here besides just sewer and storm improvements that's not being paid for by FEMA.
Okay, so then, from a previous council meeting, we all heard that our capital budget, we go back in and put things into it, such as resurfacing the streets in Lawson, Lawson Park. The park, forget, I agree, that should be done. But resurfacing of these various streets, in other words, we've retired certain capital projects, so that we now have money supposedly available to put back into it, meaning these various streets. And then we hope to get some money from FEMA. See, what I'm driving at is I'm not looking to find a way to increase our taxes.
Yes,
We've got enough problems with that already. So really what we're saying is that, okay, this replaces some other retired capital project, but if we don't get the money from FEMA, we're going to take some of these streets off the list.
The money that we're getting back from FEMA is not paying for the streets.
Okay.
The streets, again, is money that's coming out of capital budget. Now, from my perspective, as far as streets being paid for, that's why people pay property taxes, not just for the services of your fire, your
Don't start
police,
me
your
on
public
that,
works.
because I'll go after him on a certain street that I know very well.
But-
It hasn't been done in about 40 years.
But we have a list of streets, and what the council did, I believe, last year, was that every other year, like 1 year, it's the even wards, the next year it's the odd wards as far as streets that are being paved. That way, we're getting more streets done in a particular section of town. So like, right now, I have a list of 13 streets that are being requested for street paving throughout the city. So, again, this is coming out of the capital budget, not money from FEMA. This is the only money from, that's not being paid for by FEMA.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-113 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling? Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 120.
Many years ago, I attended a seminar. It was there that I first made the acquaintance of Jonathan Parham. I was most impressed. He was very, very informative and taught us a lot about what we needed to know about a certain element that exists in our city. And therefore, every time that I've seen his name on these sheets, I always smile. I've had a chance to interact with him several times after that with concerns that I had. And I always had my concerns addressed in a very prompt and efficient manner. He is a thorough professional, and while I do hope Chief Schulhafer has a long and happy career as police chief, I hope that when the time comes for him to retire, someday I hope to see us honor Jonathan Parham as the first African-American police chief in the city of Linden. Thank you.
Thank you for that suggestion. Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-120 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Sharpie, 122.
Yes, what are the requirements for the employees relative to the requirements of the Treasury Division of Pension and Benefits? What is it?
Mrs. Sack?
What requirements?
I could answer that, Council
Thank you,
President.
Mayor.
The Public Access Plan is a plan by the state of New Jersey to allow the,
122, Mayor.
oh, I'm sorry, I was talking about the Public Access Plan.
This was a recommendation of the personnel specialist that our handbook did not address the time off, the sick time and vacation time for certain employees, so it's a clarification. It's dealing mostly with part-time employees who waive it anyway, but it clarifies it because it wasn't in our handbook to put it in our handbook so that it comports with state law.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-122 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero on 124.
What is the municipal public access plan?
Now I could answer that question, right? Okay. The public access plan is a plan by the state of New Jersey where it gives residents the ability to enjoy waterfront property. It's a hot issue down South Jersey with the private beaches, and the city of Linden is one of the first to go through the process of having a public access plan tied into our Hawkeye Sanctuary, which has access to the Rawway River. And by having a public access plan, that opens up grant money once we finish the process, and we're probably about 90% there. That opens up grant money from the state of New Jersey for Hawkeyes so that our residents could enjoy the Rawway River and the waterfront under the public access plan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-124 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mr. Sharpie on 127.
Well, since the city is buying the building, what are the city's intentions for use with this building now?
Currently, we have a bid out to continue the leasing of it for the caterer that's there, and the city's in negotiations with the county, over the county leasing space in there for use for their ambulance and response teams.
Could this facility be used for homeless people? That we have like, they have shelters over in Elizabeth, they're out to the street over. Is there any way costs could be put in this for homeless people? People are out there with freezing temperature and homeless?
No, we have other plans for it. That's going to be also, besides the catering, Union County is going to have a couple of bays there, which they're going to rent from the city of Linden for a third ambulance to respond on county needs and city of Linden needs. So we'll be making revenue from the Union County. We'll be accessing a third ambulance, so when our two ambulances are in service, we have a third one, and we'll be making money from T&L caterers. And just so you know, that building reverted back to us because it was city property, and the deed reverted that building back to the city of Linden when Linden Emergency Management Services no longer provided ambulance service. Our fire department now provides 24/7 ambulance service, and therefore that deed reverted back to the city of Linden. The only issue we had to settle is the $40,000, which was owed on the mortgage by LIMS, and we decided to pay that $40,000 in appreciation of the decades of service that the Linden Volunteer Ambulance and LIMS has given to the city of Linden and its residents.
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Pat Hero, 127.
The mayor actually answered part of my question but raised another. So we weren't legally obligated to pay the $40,000.
Well, we are not we're not legally obligated. However, there is a note and a mortgage on the property that has to be satisfied, although it reverts to us, so the bank would certainly be making a claim this avoids lawsuits and legal costs in trying to clarify the title to the property.
Okay, that sounds like a good idea. Thank you.
Motion, please.
I make a motion for the passage of 2013-127 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Kuzio.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yemakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. The council, in order to take into consideration public input for the proposed ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer questions, and everybody's reminded that the public hearing on each of these ordinances will be held next month's council meeting. Ordinance on first reading, 5705.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 6 Alcoholic Beverage Control shall be amended as follows. Section 4.1, opening and closing hours.
Anybody in the public wishes to make comment on my right? And would you please come up?
I'm not sure why we're doing this. Normally, whether there's a requirement under state law or whatever, or whether this is just being done voluntarily, but I cannot imagine that opening up a liquor store at 9 a.m. on a Sunday morning, or have bars having the option to open at 10 a.m. can bring anything good to the city of Linden. Alcohol causes a tremendous amount of problems. It's responsible for a lot of domestic violence. It's responsible for a lot of auto crashes, people driving while under the influence. And the more access people have to alcohol, the more problems there are. A lot of people can't handle it. And so, like I said, I don't think that this is a particularly good idea. I'm going to try to get a copy of this ordinance and find out more things about this, but like I said, it can't be a good idea. Thank you.
Thank you. 5706.
We need to.
Oh, on that one? 5705.
Yes, Paul Shelby, and I used to be a bar owner, and the ordinance where I used to be in charge of mine was 12 o'clock. You know, people, there is a God, and, 2 extra hours of getting drunk, don't pay, and I like to break my anonymity. I'm a recovering alcoholic for the past 20 and a half years, and I think 12 o'clock, the way it's been all along, 12 o'clock noon is plenty of time to start drinking.
Thank you.
And that's all, 12 o'clock noon, keep it the same as it was, 12 o'clock noon.
May I have a motion, please, to introduce the ordinance?
Yes, move for an introduction and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
No. 5706.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 6 Alcoholic Beverage Control shall be amended as follows. Section 2.2, classes and maximum number of licenses, license fee. Section 2.2B, plenary retail distribution licenses, annual renewal fee, $800.
Anybody who wishes to make a comment on my right? Center, Mr. Sharpie?
Well, my agreement, I think it should go up to about 900, even 1,000. That's money for the city. I would say, instead of raising them 100, raise them 200. Why not? If they want to sell it before 12 o'clock, let the city make some money on this. How many licenses have we got in the city? Huh? Anybody can tell me? Anybody look at the control board here?
Mr. Bodek?
Mr. Bolek, how many licenses do we have?
There's 5 of these licenses.
5? Well, I think 900.
Thank you.
The amount that can be increased is limited by state statute.
Anyone else wishes to discuss ordinance? Motion, please.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Kozio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5707.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic shall be amended as follows. Section 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, add 515 East Blanky Street, 1 space, and Floor Clinton Street, 1 space.
Comments from the public? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to introduce.
I make a motion for the introduction of 57-07 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5708.
Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various items of capital equipment for the Public Works Department, appropriating $423,200, and authorizing the issuance of $402,040 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Comments on my right, center, left? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to introduce.
I make a motion to introduce 57-08 and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
No.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5709.
Bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $60,000 for the acquisition of asphalt and authorizing the issuance of $57,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Comments from the people in the audience? Seeing none, I ask for a motion.
I make a motion for the introduction of 57-09 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5710.
Bond ordinance authorizing the resurfacing of various streets and courts at Lawson Park, appropriating $680,000 and authorizing the issuance of $646,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Comments on my right, center? Mr. Kopecki?
Here we go again. I'm trying to see where is the difference in that particular ordinance and the resolution 2013-113 that we just passed. It sounds like we're talking about appropriating the same money twice.
Mrs. Zach?
Yeah, you have 2 points. You have a resolution that is your temporary budget, capital budget. That's your, establishes a budget. How a capital budget is not funded, the bond ordinance is the way you fund the capital budget. So it's not that you're not appropriating twice. In the ordinance, you're actually appropriating the money that the capital budget sets aside.
I see. So the key word here in 57-10 is authorizing, which is the third line at the end.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion to introduce, please, if no one else has any comments on it. Motion, please.
So I make a motion for introduction of 57-10 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5711.
Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of playground equipment for Lawson Park for the Public Properties Department, appropriating $38,000 and authorizing the issuance of $36,100 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Questions from the audience? Input? Motion to introduce, please.
So I make a motion for the introduction of 57-11 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kozinski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5712, please.
Bond ordinance authorizing the appropriation of $300,000 for storm and sanitary sewer improvements and authorizing the issuance of $285,000 in bonds or notes to finance part of the cost thereof.
Comments from the public, please? Seeing none, I ask for introduction. Motion to introduce.
Yes, I make an introduction for bond ordinance 57-12 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5713.
Bond ordinance amending bond ordinance number 5512, finally adopted by City Council on March 15, 2011.
Comments from the public? Ask for a motion to introduce.
So I make a motion for introduction of 57-13 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5714.
An ordinance adopting amendments to the redevelopment plan for Southwood Avenue redevelopment area.
Comments? Would you come up, please?
I would like to request for the amendments to find out what they are, if they could be sent to me before the next meeting, please.
Mayor, could you have that done?
I'll be more than happy to make sure you get it, Diane.
Okay, thank you.
Would you come up, please, Pat Hero?
I would also like to have those maybe sent to me also. And I want to say that we started the Southwood Avenue redevelopment project back in September 11th, 2001. It is now February 2013. This is why government does not belong in the redevelopment business. Thank you.
Here, Ms. Hero.
Thank you.
Can I make a comment, please?
Mr. Mayor?
You're correct, that was in 2001 under the previous administration, but we are stuck with that property, and we are stuck with the redevelopment agreement, and we got to make the best of what we have right now. And once we develop that property, you're going to see an explosion that's going to ignite a development that's going to change the face of Wood Avenue. I could guarantee it.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. We're going to move into comments from the members in the public in attendance on city business motion on 5714, please.
Council President, I'm going to introduce ordinance 5714 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colubus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Now we'll move into comments from members of the public in attendance on city business. No personal or derogatory comments, not to exceed 5 minutes. Is there anyone who didn't get a chance to sign the sheet? Okay, I'll ask Mr. Bianco to come up, please.
Good evening. My subject is my annual message to the council, a pep talk, or subtitle, An Exercise in Futility. I would have been here the last meeting. Generally, I give it the first, the year. But the old cliche, due to circumstances beyond my control, et cetera, et cetera. And good evening, Mayor Gabunka, previously seated members of the council, and welcome to the arena, 10th Ward Councilman Armando Medina. Councilman Medina, as I have said to other newly seated council members, don't let the challenges you will encounter overwhelm you. The expert in anything was once a beginner. My comments are not intended to offend anyone's sensibilities, and are expressed with all due respect. They may sound repetitious, but as the author Agatha Christie wrote, good advice is always certain to be ignored, but that's no excuse not to give it. And remember, you get paid to listen. Moving on, a new year, a new beginning, new challenges, and lingering challenges. Hopefully, you, the council, will turn the page and will work together as a cohesive unit for the common good of we, the people. Make a pledge not to put politics or personal agendas above the people you work for. Sincere cooperation will be a requisite to deal with the problems you will encounter. But remember, lacking that basic element known as common sense, all your discussions and deliberations will be in vain. Sadly, common sense is an endangered species. I mentioned a cohesive unit. First and foremost, there must not be any annoyance, any petty annoyances. Then, now you've heard this before, like a fine-tuned engine, every component must function properly. You, the council members, are the components of the council engine. That must function with sincere cooperation in order to obtain solutions to the issues that confront you. I have at times said to the council, do the right thing. With reference to do the right thing, a quote by Lyndon B. Johnson, our 36th president. What's right isn't the problem. It's knowing what's right. Hopefully, you, the council, are intelligent enough to distinguish what's right and what's wrong in rendering your decisions with regards to we, the people. You are the stewards of the community and should be held to the highest ethical standards. Lead by example. In closing, I would be remiss if I did not include that familiar reprise, "Oh, how I yearn for that day when I no longer will say," you know the rest of it. There's not much time left in the hourglass, so anyway. But anyway, I have an item here.
1 minute, sir.
4 minutes?
1 minute.
1 minute.
Take your time.
I don't talk fast, so. But anyway, this is from the Ledger, February 3rd, dispute over Linden council leader taken to court. Now, what redeeming value will result in the ultimate decision regarding this matter? If a job description sheet exists, is there that much difference between the titles council president and council president at large? Is this about titles? I mentioned petty annoyances earlier. I'm sure there are more important matters to discuss than this. Now, everyone has an opinion. Mine regarding this matter is a waste of time and taxpayers' money. Dwell on more important issues. And, well, common sense, where art thou? Anyway, that's about it. Oh, ShopRite, whatever happened to free enterprise? I mean, you know, I don't know what their problem is, but anyway. Oh, I forgot to mention when you were talking about garage sales. I hope something is done about the signage. That's the big problem, one of the big problems. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bianco. Dennis Kopecki?
More things change, they stay the same.
Wonderful, man, wonderful, by all means. I'll start off very simply with a thanks and appreciation for when I woke up about 7 a.m. on the Saturday after the snowstorm. I was very happy to see that the city and their snow removal crew had gotten my street, and I hope a lot of other streets in the city of Linden, down to the pavement. And that was quite an accomplishment after all the hype that we had for the snowstorm. And it's appreciated, guys. You did a good job. Let me turn the attention to DeWitt Terrace, which we heard a little bit from Councilman Medina. Last time we talked about DeWitt Terrace, it was within a day or two that, actually I think it was the next day, that the radar signs turned up, one of them down there near Yale Terrace on the, if we can consider it the westbound direction from Sun George Avenue to Raritan Road, and then up above McManus School for the eastbound, again, Raritan Road towards St. George Avenue. And we were very graced by patrolmen showing up occasionally to gather the, what did you say, 3,500 cars, I believe in your report? And anyhow, whatever the time period was, and of course the radar signs were removed right before the snowstorm, which is understandable for the plowing action that was going to take place thereafter. I have a rather unique vantage point of DeWitt Terrace. I'm a school crossing guard at the DeWitt Terrace and Princeton Road. And I will say, first of all, that while I appreciate all the support and effort that's being done by Councilman Medina for this, I have a report which I'm not terribly happy with. When the radar signs went up, we had about a 70% improvement in people complying with the posted speed limit. I mean, it was obvious. These people were starting to slow down. They read the sign. They saw that, okay, too fast, or whatever it might have said, okay, your speed is 27 miles an hour, which is still certainly close enough to the 25 mile an hour posted for a residential district. When the signs disappeared, when the patrolmen stopped showing up, I'm sorry to say that the speed violators and the ones running the stop signs from the intersections into DeWitt Terrace, the bad habits, the naughty behavior picked up all over again. Frankly, folks, I think we lose nothing by again asking the city police and the city to redeploy those radar signs, give more people more time to read them, if nothing else, and get used to the idea that it's posted at 25 miles per hour for a residential district. I appreciate the patrolmen showing up, and I hope that can also be accomplished again. In the meantime, while we get to the advanced stages that were mentioned in Councilman Medina's report, I think it would be very helpful if we can at least get people used to the idea that after they've been doing whatever they please for as long as they have, that something is being done about changing that behavior. And I think it's important for me to mention that my motivation for all of this has to do with, there are 3 school zones on DeWitt Terrace. McManus the most obvious, but also further up we have the School 10, down Princeton Road, and a little bit off to the left of that is School 9, what we all used to call Deerfield years ago. I care very much for these kids. I see what happens to them. They walk down the street. They're not paying attention to the drivers. They're just, happy kids. Heck, I went to McManus for a year and loved it, but I've got a very good bunch of kids coming down from McManus. I will speak very highly of the parents that walk their kids in better weather over to Deerfield School. And while I don't have too much interaction up there with school number 10, I know there's already been at least one accident that put a car up on the lawn earlier this year, late last year.
1 minute, sir.
So I would seriously appreciate all the effort continue until we decide what we're going to do, how it's going to be deployed, but at least put the radar signs back. Let's keep them going, get the patrolmen there, and hopefully this will improve the condition of the road. I mean, how it's being used, should I say. The road is excellent. It's smooth, straight, very good. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Pat Hero.
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. Personally, I shop at ShopRite in Linden, and I appreciate their longstanding involvement in our community and their charitable contributions. Now I'd like to talk about the Southwood Avenue project. The mayor says this is the explosion that will ignite Wood Avenue. When I keep hearing that, I keep feeling the need to call Chief Rizzo. Explosions that ignite get me a little bit nervous. The fact is, this is what the planners tell you. Now, my personal favorite fairy tale is The Emperor's New Clothes. Except, you may remember the fairy tale that talked about tailors that came in and they sold clothes to allegedly clothes to the emperor. In reality, they just said, well, we're going to give you this stuff, but he goes, well, there really isn't anything. No, they're clothes. It's only people who are really wise can see you. But there was one little boy there, and he said, as everybody was saying of how wonderful the emperor was clothed, he goes, but he's naked. Well, replace the tailors with planners, and replace the little boy with one small woman who points out to the planners, your plans are naked, they're naked. See, they come into a town and they say all wonderful things like, this is going to be the explosion that ignites Wood Avenue and makes it just a wonderful community. But in reality, we have 16 transit villages in the state of New Jersey, and so far, I haven't seen anything that distinguishes one from another, or how they're all going to coexist, and what is the demand or the supply. All I know is that the more residents we have, the more you have to shell out in services, and it costs more for us to have these increased in residents than we will benefit. And one of the things about this transit village is these planners have an incredibly hostile attitude toward the automobile. Find it rather ironic that since I've never owned a car, I am defending an automobile, but an automobile gives you a sense of freedom that mass transit never will. When all the storms were happening, you could go places in automobiles while New Jersey Transit had to shut down. So, it says that the intent is to create an attractive, vibrant, pedestrian-friendly area where people can live, shop, work, and play without the need to rely on automobiles. It says it will provide the spark to transform the redevelopment area and surrounding transit village area from their current condition of low-intensity development to a combination of residential and commercial development with a more comfortable pedestrian environment. While I agree with the need to improve traffic safety on Wood Avenue, I don't really see how it's going to be much different than what we already have now, except for the fact that we will have an increase in residents, which will bring an increase in traffic. Because, unlike them, these people will not all rely on mass transit and will need automobiles to get around. So, I'd like to say that I think these transit villages ideas are great. They're great for the planners. They're probably not so great for the communities that they're in. And I will continue to oppose this and fight this. And granted, yes, I hope some way down the road, maybe I'll be proved wrong on this, but the problem is, I really don't think so. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Paul Sharpie.
Mr. Cosio, I'm going to hate to see you leave. You've done a good service to the citizens and everything. Now, well, 2013, December 31st. And if you come back, it's on you. We need this redevelopment, and we need to move Linden forward. Council, you got April 28th to present your budget to the state. And I, too, would like to announce my candidate for the Linden Board of Education. And right now, Linden needs a special needs school, and also there's a lot of other things that the city needs. And it's good to bring people in. If you go over to Elizabeth, they're redeveloping all over. South Broad Street, build. We can build a public parking lot here, right on the other side of the street there, build a public thing there. The city has to grow. You can't stay the same. Linden needs to grow. The more it grows, the lower our taxes will go. You know, we can't stay the same thing. Mr. Bianco, thank you. You know, there's a man that could tell you, We got to work together, all 11 of us, all 12 of us, got to work together to move the city forward. Bring all the redevelopment in. Let people come in and build two-family homes. You know, we can't stay the same. The more we stay the same, you know, we got to grow, Linden. You can't stay the same. You know, it's time to move forward. I hope all departments come to a balanced budget. Cut what you gotta, but cut. Don't give supervisors jobs to sit behind City Hall here for 8 hours. Don't give them raises. Freeze them. You're the ones that are out there doing the work. And you did a very good job with the snow removal. You know, and even on a smaller street, you should not make them park on the right side of the street. It was the first time I seen this city clean, the big streets clean, they were right up to the curb. Give them a ticket. Give them a ticket, they don't want to get off. Snow emergencies. Give them a ticket. That was the first time in the years that I've been living here, I've seen those wider streets cleared right up to the curb. The trucks were able to go right up and down them. And Mr. Mayor, thank you. That snow emergency, that last one, those streets were clean, people. That was the first time in the 20 years I've been living in Linden, I've seen the job done right. Now the smaller streets, snow emergencies, no parking on the right side. This way we get 3/4 of the thing. Job well done. Job well done. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Kate Kopechny, 511 Van Buren Avenue. Michelle Haraway, 1971 Eastern Terrace Union.
What's the address, Jim?
Good evening. Thank you for your time and your attention. My name's Michelle Harvey. I live in Union, New Jersey. My connection to Linden is my mom was a teacher here many, many moons ago at Linden High School. I'm asking tonight for your support. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to really hear me either at this point in the day. Sorry. Michelle Harvey, Union, New Jersey. My mom was a teacher in Linden High School. Thank you for your time tonight. I come here to ask your help. I heard everybody say yes at least once tonight. I'm hoping that in the future you'll be able to say yes to our request. I come here tonight as a sister of a developmentally disabled individual who lives at Woodbridge Developmental Center. We're asking for your support as we're asking the municipalities around Woodbridge Developmental Center to help us stop, if we can, the closure of the North Jersey Developmental Centers. My sister is 53 years old. She can't speak for herself. She can dress herself. But she's not one of the typically developmentally disabled people that you see in the magazines or on TV. The people at Woodbridge need constant care, and they need the kind of care that they've been receiving at Woodbridge for over 40 years. My sister has lived there for over 40 years. There are people in wheelchairs. There are people that need their water thickened so that they don't choke. I've been going to Woodbridge for over 40 years, not that I want to tell my age, but my sister's never been always neatly dressed, cleanly groomed, well cared for, and you can't buy caring. You know, all of us have been in situations where maybe a hospital worker or you need help. These people help my sister every day. The reason my parents made the difficult decision when they did when she was a child and I was a child to place her in this developmental center was because people that had more skills than we had as a family helped her to develop, helped her to grow. She's used to this environment, and the thing that really my parents thought very long and hard at this point in her life to transition her to some other location would be traumatic. I mean, think about the people who lost their homes in the hurricane. It was a trauma. These are people that, my sister has a mental capacity of a 3-year-old child. They won't understand. Moving them into the community, she might take a stranger's hand. You know, not to say that the community living isn't right for some people, it's not right for these people. And we're asking for your support. And we have some other people I know on the list that will give you more information, but certainly we would appreciate your support. The Township of Woodbridge, a couple other townships have helped us to send a resolution to the governor saying, we oppose. These are people who can't speak for themselves. We're asking you to help us speak for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Smith.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm Deborah Smith. I live in Paterson, New Jersey. I come before you tonight as a representative of the North Jersey Developmental Center Association. Back in August of 2012, the Governor's Task Force on Developmental Closures decided to close 2 of the 7 developmental centers, both North Jersey and Woodbridge Developmental Centers. These are the only 2 developmental centers in northern New Jersey and would devastate the family members in the north who visit their loved ones. I am here tonight to ask you for a resolution to keep the developmental centers open. My daughter, Keisha, has been a resident of North Jersey Developmental Center for 27 years. I am angry and saddened over the decision to close her home. I am concerned about her possibility of moving her 100 miles one way from her family. Such a distance would drastically impede our family's ability to keep contact with our daughter. Keisha is 42 years old. She's profoundly intellectually disabled. She has limited speech, aggressive behavior issues. She suffers from epileptic petit-mal seizures and has experienced 50 to 100 per day. But thanks to the care that she has received at North Jersey Developmental Center, her seizures are under control. In fact, I haven't seen her have a seizure in 10 years. In 1999, the Supreme Court on a case decided individuals live in a restricted, in 1999, the Supreme Court ruled on the case and decided that individuals live in the least restrictive setting, so long as the services are available, the community, the services are available in the community, the services are appropriate for those individuals and for those individuals who don't oppose to live in the community. This is the basis for the state's decision to close developmental centers. Yet not all of the standards outlined in the Olmsted decision are being met. I agree and respect the basis behind the Olmsted decision. For those individuals who live in developmental centers, who have the functioning capacity and ability to live in the community, that's fine. But not every person that lives in a developmental center can function in the community. My daughter started out in the community. It did not work for her. Although they had good intentions, they were unable to deal with her aggressive behavior. They were unable to deal with her limited speech. She could not articulate her wants and needs. And getting her medication into her twice a day was even more of a bigger challenge. So she ended up in North Jersey Developmental Center. My daughter needs the type of continued care that she received for 27 years at North Jersey Developmental Center. If the state closes North Jersey, she would be transferred to a center approximately 100 miles from her family. As I said, such a distance would drastically reduce my family's ability to continue a close relationship with Keisha. This is the case for many individuals living in Woodbridge and North Jersey Developmental Center. 6 of the 7 developmental centers did a survey in 2009 of the family and guardians. 96% of them chose developmental center placement over community placement.
Just, you have a minute.
Okay. I just want to say, I speak for my daughter who cannot speak for herself. So on behalf of my daughter and all the developmental centers, all the people living in developmental centers, I ask that you stand with me and the other family members to stop the closure of the 2 centers and pass a resolution of supporting keeping the centers open. I also like to express my sincere thanks and appreciation to you all for allowing me the opportunity to share my story. We need your help for our loved ones, and we ask that you please not let us down. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. If you would send some information to our city clerk,
I do have a package.
would you mind
Give it to your
giving
city
us a
clerk.
copy?
They're for you, actually, it includes my statement and a statement of,
Thank you very much.
President of Woodbridge, too.
Thank you. Ricky Cobb?
Thank you. My name is Ricky Cobb. I live in Irvington, New Jersey, and I am an employee at Woodbridge Developmental Center. I usually come prepared with the little statement so that I can bring you up to speed, but I see our two parents brought you quite up, and I don't think anybody can lay it down as well as they just did. We're speaking about those who cannot speak for themselves. We're not talking about individuals who have the ability to walk the streets of Linden or Rawway or Woodbridge or any other place. These people are physically disabled. This is the last of the bunch, and they're classified as level 4, which probably means nothing, but as you go through your packages, you'll find out what that means. Those two ladies gave you such an intense and detailed layout of these individuals. They are being forced out of their homes that they have known for 40 years. I am 34 years as an employee. I grew up with them. I lifted them from wheelchair to commode, from wheelchair to car seat, from wheelchair to bed, from wheelchair, and now they're being told that you have to go into a group home. A group home. I worked as a crisis manager for one of the crisis centers in ARC. I'm telling you, they can't do it. I know the private sector. I know the public sector. I'm not going to carry this on too deep, but I need you to give me and them a little empathy. They need your help. They can't fight this fight alone. They need your help to say to the governor, rethink this. Is this a great idea? We don't believe it is. I thank you.
Thank you. Rex Reed?
Hello, my name is Rex Reed. I'm the political legislative representative for the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees, AFSCME, in the state of New Jersey, and I represent the AFSCME workers at Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Centers. And I'm here to ask the City of Linden, Council to help the families and guardians work to fight to keep Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Centers open. The residents of Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Centers are your citizens. They need your help. They are the least able to care for themselves, and that's why we're here asking you to stand with them to save their homes. Some of them have lived at Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Centers for decades and know no other home. The state's plan to move the residents into community group homes is ill-conceived and deadly, as stated by the former Deputy Director of the New Jersey Division of Developmental Disabilities for 32 years, Bernie White. He said that moving the residents from Woodbridge into the community setting would result in a 47% higher death rate than them remaining in the center. These statistics are gathered from the states where this has been done, like California and Ohio. And if that were not reason enough, 6 of the family members of the residents and 65 of the AFSCME, CWA, and IFPTE workers at Woodbridge and North Jersey Developmental Center live in your city. They're taxpayers and voters in the city of Linden, and they do shop here and spend a good part of the combined developmental center income of approximately $91 million in the city over the years. some $3,375,900 by your residents. I say that because the governor's task force determined that finances lost to the city would not hurt. I ask you, can anybody stand to lose any part of $91 million in these hard economic times? Or have your city support the added cost of group homes placed in your city, adding the additional burden to police, emergency services, fire, and rescue? We're asking you to stand with the residents of Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Center by passing a resolution in support of keeping not only Woodbridge Developmental Center and North Jersey Developmental Center open, but all the developmental centers in the state of New Jersey. We're asking you to do this by passing a resolution and sending it to the governor and to your state legislative delegation. And we have a petition that we'd ask all of you and all the members of the audience present here tonight to please sign our petition and help us keep these two developmental centers open. Thank you.
Thank you. Kay Hopkins, 511 Van Buren. Second call. And Mr. Alvarez.
Good evening.
Good evening.
George Alvarez, Linden Board of Education President. I'm just here to make 2 quick points. First, Mr. Sheehy, I'm not Puerto Rican. My family is from Peru. Ironically, my daughter and his daughter have been friends for about 10 years. Second, I am here because this council was put up to a vote last night, and I came here to plead that before you make a decision, you guys give me one more chance to talk in front of all of you. I have talked to some of you, and I don't believe everybody here sees the big picture. And I would really like if you guys give me one more chance to try to talk to you to solve the small problem that the Board of Ed has with the City Council. I want everybody to remember about 155 years ago or so, a young man ran for Senate, and he gave a speech. The first line in that speech was, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." This man became senator, and then he became president. You had it on your Facebook very recently. You know who that president was?
No.
It was Lincoln.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to do here is, I believe that the problem we have is a little bit more than just the obvious. And I would really like a chance that you guys give me to come and talk to all of you. Not here, not today. You know, pick a day. I mean, I should have been there yesterday. I couldn't. I wear many hats, as you guys know, but I will make myself available, and I really want to sit down and try to explain the big picture to you guys. If you need to get in touch with me, just open your windows, scream Coach George. I'm everywhere in the city. Thank you.
Thank you. Following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, March 18th, 2013, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting, Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, March 19th, 2013, at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Colvis.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Crosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.